Hey y'all, it's Banana Bread Man back at it again. Now you might look at that thumbnail and think,
2022 code, they want their video format back.
but I was compelled to make this after being bored at work and binging Total Drama Icebergs. And while I either came up with all these entries myself, or they're just generic things that any self-respecting Total Drama Iceberg should have, I will flash a couple icebergs on screen that I either use consciously or subconsciously because proper credit is important. And in case you somehow don't know how an iceberg works, the surface levels are more common knowledge, and as the deeper you go, the darker and more obscure the trivia gets. So let's just get into it. This is the Total Drama Iceberg Explained. Layer 1. The Sky. Alternate endings. Every season of Total Drama until the reboot had an alternate ending. While this fact is relatively common knowledge, most don't know how the ending shown in each region was decided. Basically, the network airing the show would run an ad asking you to vote for who you wanted to win in either the final 2 or 3. Island had Owen and Gwen. Action had Duncan and Beth. World Tour had Heather, Alejandro, and Cody. I can't remember or find any promos for Revenge, All-Stars, Pakatu, and the Redonkulous Race, but you could go on the website and vote for those also. Now, you'd imagine that whoever had the most votes would win, but Cartoon Network had a habit of ignoring this, with Gwen, Cody, Cameron, and the Cadets all winning in the USA but being ignored. Cody was obviously changed due to him not having an ending, but the other 3 were unclear. Lightning might have been given this ending, because if he didn't, he'd only have one in the Philippines. But it is unclear why Cartoon Network swapped the other 2 for Owen and the Surfers. This voting format was phased out for the reboot as no bonus clips were ordered. Canada. Total Drama's a Canadian show. This should be obvious due to the several references to Canada, but this went over the heads of a lot of people, including moi. I don't even know why though. They say it takes place in Muskoka, Ontario, Owen says Z instead of Z, and he has a maple leaf on his shirt. Maybe it was something dumb like the color of the prize money that confused me. Fresh TV. Fresh TV are the creators of Total Drama and its spin-offs. They also made other shows like 16 and Stoked. If you watch the show's credits on TV or stayed on them like a weirdo on Netflix, you'd see their logo. If you ever go a little bit deeper in the fandom, you might see fans reference people like Tom McGillis, Jennifer Persh, and Terry McGurran. In case you didn't know, Tom and Jen are the main producers, and they're also writers on the show, and Terry is a writer and voice actor on the show. Censorship. Total Drama has a history of being majorly censored. I'm not going to go over each individual edit, so I'll give y'all the basics. Stuff like crap, stupid, freak, suck, gitch, hot, heck, shut up, and skis were all mostly replaced with a couple exceptions. Most of the bleeps were cut out, except for Lindsay's rant, which was replaced with this awful dub.
You really are mean! And all that bad stuff people say about you is true! Like how you're a two-faced, backstabbing, lying little, no-good, selfish, heartless, pushy, bossy, mean bully of a girl!
She still flips off Heather, though. Some of the jokes were poorly redubbed or replaced entirely, like the communal bathrooms, damn fine hat, luscious as an apple, and bull testicles. This Statue of Liberty scene was cut in most places. MK's skin tone was changed after the first airing of the first season, and all scenes with Barf were cut in the United Kingdom. The UK also cut Anne Maria attacking Dakota and Stacy with hairspray, but instead of completely removing it, it was reanimated so she pushed Dakota down and unintentionally hit Stacy with some spray. The audio wasn't redone though, so the sound's kinda off. Censorship cooled down after Island, at least in the United States, and All-Stars and Pakatu weren't even touched. They also censored part of World Tour for the livestream. Here's a clip.
I am a C-I-T!
More like a B-I-T-C.
I am a C-I-T!
More like an L-O-S-E.
Cameos. Cameos are really common in the franchise. Revenge of the Island had a previous cast member in 11 of the 13 episodes. All-Stars had Zeke, Dakota, Cody, Blanley, Izzy, and Owen. The Redonkulous Race had Zeke, Blanley, Anne Maria, and Chris. The reboot had Sean, Owen, The Rockers, Duncan, Courtney, Izzy, Owen again, MacArthur, and the Tennis Rivals. Dramarama shows grown-up versions of the cast a lot. It's kind of tough to tell if these background characters being reused counts, but stuff like Bruno the Bear and the escaped psycho killer with a chainsaw and a hook definitely do. 16. 16 is another show made by Fresh TV. It's about 6 teens who work in a mall during the summer. These shows are very close-knit, from obvious stuff like the intro parody in Action and Jude and Dramarama, to minor things like MacArthur mentioning Jennifer Masterson. If you like Total Drama, but don't like losing a cast member every episode, you should check out 16. Stoked is in a similar boat where it's also made by Fresh TV and references Total Drama, but it's about a group of surfers working at a resort during the summer. Again, y'all should watch it if you like either show. Survivor. Survivor is a reality TV show where a group of people compete on an island against one another in the hopes of winning $1 million. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's just the live-action show that Total Drama was based off of. Dramarama. Dramarama was a spin-off released in 2018. It follows some of the original Total Drama cast, but they're preschoolers. There's also Jude from 16. Later on, Sugar and Lightning were added to the cast, and there were occasionally characters that guest starred, like Ella and Max. It's an alright kid show. And while I may not like it, I can respect the fact that it is probably one of the main reasons we got the reboot seasons. Cartoon Network interference. One of the most famous pieces of trivia for Total Drama is that both Gwent and Dunkney were broken up due to the networks not wanting kids to believe that every relationship will work out. While this sounds like one of those "my uncle works for Nintendo" things, it was actually confirmed in an interview with Christian Potenza.
So actually, Athena might kill me, but breaking them up was a network request.
There are other theorized interferences, like the intro shortening, 13-episode seasons, the Surfers return, and Gwunkin getting together, but nothing has been confirmed. And with that, we have discussed the sky. Now, let's go a tad deeper. Layer 2, the surface. Writer's pets. A writer's pet is a character people believe got too much focus. Common examples include Courtney, Duncan, Gwen, Owen, Mike, Zoe, Julia, and Priya. But some will also include Heather, Alejandro, Scott, Cameron, and Wayne. Personally, I draw the line right here. I may love Duncan, but a 4-for-4 merge ratio is crazy. Blank was supposed to win, but couldn't because of blank. This is a common phrase said when people are upset that their favorite character didn't win. The most common ones used are, Lashana was meant to win Island, but couldn't because her voice actor got sick. Lindsay was supposed to win Action, but couldn't due to family emergencies. Cody was meant to win World Tour, but couldn't due to time constraints. Joe was meant to win Revenge, but couldn't because they didn't want Cameron to beat up a girl. Courtney was supposed to win, but couldn't because Ed McDonald hated her. The best friends/sisters were supposed to win the Redonkulous race, but Cartoon Network wanted an equal split of gender in the finale. In the reboot, we were supposed to have alternate endings, but the networks didn't order any bonus clips. Only a handful of these hold any water, but they were either very early drafts or related to something else entirely. Fan seasons. Fan seasons are extremely common in Total Drama, whether it rewrites existing seasons, a new season made with previous cast members, or just completely unique characters. The most popular fan season is definitely Disventure Camp, likely due to its insane quality with voice acting and animation. Though I will mention that they are trying to distance themselves from Total Drama as the seasons go on, first taking the name out of the title, then removing the character's relationship to TD contestants, to now confirming that Season 4 will have a unique art style. Another big hit was Total Drama Reunion, but Fresh TV ended up taking it down after the first episode. Apparently Blue Studios were going to try to bring it back, but it's currently unknown what's going on there. Exclusive clips. Exclusive clips are clips that would play following an episode, or to fill ad space on Cartoon Network or Teletoon. This is where the stuff like the audition tapes or video messages from home come from. There are a couple series, including the audition tapes, video messages from home, confessionals, TDA files, limousines, post-aftermath, stoked promos, drop of shame, flush of shame, and miscellaneous. While most exist in decent quality, there are a few exceptions, but I'll leave that to the lost media section. Izzy isn't crazy. This is probably the most well-known Total Drama theory. Though popularized by BH Ultra, it had been theorized by others for years. The basic premise of this theory is that Izzy isn't crazy. I know, it's a shocker. Some evidence includes her multiple audition tapes, her switching teams, and her multiple returns. What do I think of this theory? It's fun, but I don't think it was the writer's plan. And that's pretty much what any theory is. Clone High. Clone High is a very special show about a group of clone teenage historical figures. It's really funny, and you can find every episode on Max next to the Total Drama reboot. It also got a reboot recently, and just like the original season, it ended on a cliffhanger. Now, why am I bringing all this up? Some believe that the Total Drama art style was based off of it, and it was later confirmed by Todd Kaufman. But with that, the surface is done, and now we are down to the shallows. Layer 3, the shallows. Malforeshadowing. This entry refers to the shadowy figure in Grand Chef Auto. While we now know that this was foreshadowing Mal, at the time, people were theorizing what it could mean. Some thought it was a new, evil personality, or that it was nothing but an animation error. Even when All-Stars released, people still claimed it was an animation error due to it looking exactly like Mike, but black and white. This theory persisted until it was confirmed by Fresh TV's Tumblr. Cut All-Stars. Originally, the All-Stars cast looked like this according to this leak, and you might notice something wrong already. Anne-Marie is in the cast, but she isn't mentioned in the leak. Well, the reason for that is, she's mentioned on the wiki, but I can't find anywhere else. Maybe she was the first cut, who knows. As you probably noticed, Sam and Gwen are gone, replaced by Owen and Anne-Maria, with Cody and Brick tacked on. This made the generations equal, but the genders 9 to 7. The most common consensus is that Owen and Anne-Maria were early boots, with Cody being a late pre-merge boot, and Brick making it to merge. If I had to guess the elimination order, it looks something like this. and Maria getting taken out by Joe early on, Owen filling in for Sam, Cody replacing Cam in the Sierra plot, and Brick doing his own thing. Shane Beardo died. If you look at any Beardo-related thing, you'll probably notice this phrase. Man, I love Total Drama. Shane Beardo died, though. This originates from BH Ultra's video, analyzing every Total Drama contestant in one video. It's just a little bit used when he couldn't think of anything for Beardo. Skatoony. Skatoony is a live-action animated hybrid game show between real kids and fictional characters. There would be 3 rounds before one of the real kids would win a prize. The Total Drama cast consistently appeared, with a good chunk of Gen 1 and all of Gen 2 competing. Most of the time, the Total Drama cast would make it to round 2 at best, but 2 characters made it to the 3rd and final round. Sam and Izzy. Obviously they didn't win. Imagine being a real kid and losing your prize to a fake character. That would be embarrassing. Character biographies. These were little interviews or descriptions given to every contestant from Island to the Redonkulous race, with the exception of Blanley. They were posted by Cartoon Network on the Total Drama website. Island, World Tour, and Revenge gave us little interviews, and Action, All-Stars, Pocketoo, and the Redonkulous race only gave us brief descriptions. Personally, I like the Revenge interviews the most since they feel the funniest, with B straight up saying nothing and Mike getting taken over multiple times. They're a great read if you need more Total Drama content. They give you tiny bits of lore too, like Zeke speaking 8 languages, or Gwen only auditioning as Dare from her little brother. Self-inserts. Self-inserts are very common in Total Drama. So common that we even see them in the actual show. Though these two are closer to references than actual self-inserts, some of these self-inserts even became in-jokes in the community, like Sierra. Heather's head. This will be a pretty short entry. In Season 1, Heather's head has a corner. In Season 2, it doesn't. Interns' deaths. According to Chris right here,
okay, new intern. I know it's weird that you're starting on our last show, but all of the other interns died already.
Every intern had died in Total Drama Island. We see 2 interns die on screen in World Tour, and we hear about Andrew's death in the Redonkulous race. And if we're not just talking about deaths, we also see Josh get mutated. Sucks to be them, but anyways, we're done with our 3rd layer. Now, we need to go deeper. Layer 4, the middle. Background, Zeke. In World Tour, you can find Zeke quite a bit in the background, watching. Sometimes they bring attention to him, but most of the time, he's just sitting there, quietly. Now, if it was just World Tour, I probably wouldn't bring it up, but this happens 2 more times than you'd think. In Island, he's on the back of this random milk carton, and in Redonkulous Race, he's on a wanted poster. Island of the Slaughtered. Island of the Slaughtered was a TikTok series, which followed the Total Drama cast, you guessed it, giving cookies. In terms of needlessly edgy Total Drama content, it's really good. The art is spectacular, and the writing is campy fun. It was also the thing that led us to that My Little Pony Infection AU stuff a while ago, so it left a bit of an impact. Heather's plot armor. Heather had some pretty crazy plot armor in Island. This leads people to believe that she was given special treatment from the in-universe producers, and while it's a fun theory, it really overlooks some of Heather's best strategic moments for like 3 eliminations. Maybe I just hate this theory because it was a big part of my Heather video, and now that I don't believe it, I just look at the video as so stupid. Anyways, enough about me and my crappy videos. This theory relies on the fact of Heather getting immunity here, and Justin, Izzy, and Jeff's eliminations. The immunity is kinda sus, and Justin and Jeff's eliminations are kinda contrived, but they make sense. Izzy's elimination is the only one that confuses me. She isn't a challenge or social threat, and you can kinda mess with the votes, but it relies on Lashana voting Izzy over Heather, which I can like kinda see since they're not on the best terms, but it's not a perfect fit, you know? Camp TV. Camp TV was the pilot version of Total Drama. The art style is a tad different, and some of the character designs are off, but the coolest thing to me personally is the interactions. Firstly, Lindsay was supposed to take Heather's role. Tyler and Duncan were best friends. Everybody hated Trent, and Gwen and Jeff were dating. We've heard about or seen 3 versions of Camp TV before we landed on Total Drama. 2003 had 10 contestants and was hosted by Brock Rockwell. 2004 had 12, and 2006 had 18 designed contestants plus Chef and an unseen Chris. The original pitch had 2 teams of 12, but as the largest cast we see was 22, 2 characters were scrapped before even being made. There was also 3 characters who were retooled into different characters. Jessica, who was eventually made into Lindsay, who was then split into Heather and Lindsay, and Hillary and Mandy, who had their storyline revised to include Duncan and Jeff. I don't know what this means. The wiki is super vague as little to nothing is known about the original version. We have a couple overviews and a trailer. The pilot is completely missing, and the promo material is confusing. This one has the final version of Camp TV with 2004's description, and this one is all Total Drama Island plots with Camp TV designs. We also have no prototype design for Heather, Courtney, Izzy, and Noah. And since we know that Heather and Lindsay were split from this character, we can assume the same for the rest. I'm decently confident about Noah and Cody being split from Zeke and Bridget. it, but I got no idea where Izzy could come from. It's really fun looking at all this pre-release stuff, but without an inside leak, we will likely never get a complete picture from these early versions. Trent's brain damage. This is a spin on the more common Trent has OCD theory. It was popularized by, you guessed it, BH Ultra. The idea behind this theory is that the reason Trent is way dumber and more paranoid in action is due to the large amount of physical trauma Trent receives on Island. While this likely wasn't the intention for Trent's derailment, it's a much more fun explanation for the inconsistencies. Total Drama Reloaded. Total Drama Reloaded was the original name for Total Drama Revenge of the Island. It had mostly the same characters with a few exceptions. B and Don are gone. And then there's Molly. Molly was the prototype version of Zoe, not to be confused with this Zoe, who was a completely different, scrapped character. The cast has a bunch of changes design-wise, ranging from basically the same character to someone completely new. I think the season would play out pretty similarly. Most I can think is that Joe and Lightning's rivalry would be Lightning and Scott based on this alone, and Brick would take on a more antagonistic role in this season. Sadly, we'll never know. Anyways, on to the 5th layer. Layer 5, The Depths. Dwayne the Freak. So if you watch The Redonkulous Race, you might remember this scene.
Mina travel as denting.
If you wonder why Dwayne was slapped, it was because of what he said. It translates to, give me my travel, asshole. Though, from what I've read, it could also be interpreted as, let me travel to the asshole. Brady is an actor. We all remember Brady, right? You know, Brady. Beth's boyfriend from season 2? The one no one believed existed? What? You don't? That's probably because you're not a freak obsessed with this show like me. Anyways, this theory is pretty self-explanatory. Brady was hired because, according to Beth,
All guys want what they know they can't have.
if there was no evidence besides, he's too hot for her, then I probably wouldn't have included it. So, let's look at the evidence. 1. Brady's picture is a modeling sheet. Even if he is a model, it's weird to not have any other pictures of your boyfriend. 2. She still went after other dudes when dating him. Justin I can kinda get in the show's universe, his looks are supernatural, but she also tried to go out with Harold, who does not have supernatural powers. That we know of. And finally, Brady never shows up again. Beth never mentions him. And Beth tries to go out with this pole. This show is weird as hell. Maybe they broke up because she tried to go with other dudes while dating him, or maybe he was never her boyfriend to begin with. Whoa! Raw World Tour songs. On the Cartoon Network Total Drama World Tour website, you could download the songs for the episodes as they aired. But rather than the show episodes, they were the studio versions by mistake. You can pretty easily find all the songs up to We Are Shearing Sheep when they just disappear. This is likely because few used the website, fewer downloaded the songs, and even fewer uploaded them. I can't find them so I can't confirm this, but the wiki says the download version of A Chinese Lesson has the first part missing, and Blanerific is missing half the song. Anyways, as the website was taken down only a few days after the finale aired, it'd be almost impossible to find the un-auto-tuned version of Versus, which sucks, because it would be way better without Alejandro's heavy autotune. Also, this is how we have Stuck to a Pole with Bridget, not Stuck to a Pole. It's fire, y'all should listen to it. B's voice. This one is pretty simple. B doesn't talk, but he does scream in his elimination. For a while, we had no idea where the sound came from, but now we know it's half of a stock sound effect from 4000 Series Effects Library. Kinda neat. Hosts are freaks. This is a reference to the strange relationship the hosts have with these teenagers. I'll give you a rundown from normal to most awful. 5th, Don. All around, Don is a decent human being. Sure, he has a bit of an ego, but he ain't a ditty, so we fuck with him. 4th, Chef. Chef has a few questionable moments. A lot of people point to the monster he was controlling going on a date with Izzy, but if you watch the episode, you realize that he loses control of the monster after failing to lift Owen. He did also call Justin hot, and that's kinda sus. 3rd, Josh. We know the least about Josh as we only see him in one episode, and depending on why he likes this cat fight, he can go higher or lower. 2nd, Blaney. Blaney has one weird moment with Justin, but that seemed like basic fangirling to me. But the reason she's in 2nd place is because she's dating a bear. And 1st place is obviously Chris. Chris has plenty of weird moments. All the stuff with Lindsay, this weird scene with Gwen, having a kid with his pet plant who was kind of his son, thirsting over Caleb, etc. Season 4 contest. Before Season 4, there was the Teletoon Casting Call Contest, which was won by one Erin Tapley, who got herself an animated interview with Chris McLean. We got some fun trivia, like Chef choosing to wear dresses, and the names of the Season 4 teams. We also see some footage shown, which, would you look at that? Alejandro's ending. I'm gonna use the rest of this time to talk about the Who Are the Canon Winners video, since a good chunk of y'all couldn't accept that Duncan and Al could be the canon winner. So many of y'all were so focused on these that you didn't notice I was completely wrong about the redonkulous race. Moral of the story, I'm always right, except when I'm not. Episode 25.5. So, Island technically has 29 episodes, but only 28 could air depending on the country you watch the show on. There were 26 standard episodes, the special, and the 2 rundown episodes. The TDI rundown in America, and the Total Drama Island recap in Canada. They're basically the same idea, but different execution. Just a recap of the entire season. I don't know why they couldn't just reuse the same episode, but I ain't complaining. Unique content is unique content. Lost media. Total Drama has quite a bit of lost media. In terms of stuff that is completely lost while writing the script, there is Chef's Roadkill Cafe and Izzy's Scary Stories. Many believe these to be Mandela effect, until Rare Total Drama contacted Brian Irving, who could confirm that they are real, but was unable to provide them due to them being story material, which does suck, but knowing that they're real is huge. Now let's talk about the partially found stuff. We're missing an English dub for a couple of the World Tour bonus clips, those being Owen's Drop of Shame, Sierra's Blog, and Chris Mourns Over the Jumbo Jet. While missing in English, you can find a pretty decent quality Polish and Romanian dub. Outside of actual animated clips, there's some other content like the studio version for every song past Chinese lesson, and some Doc of Shame / best of clips from the Total Drama website. Some are complete, some have videos, and some are completely gone. Now let's finish this with the stuff that was thought to be lost, but eventually found. Most recently was this Pocketoo clip, but there's also the Gwyn version of the Total Drama Island special. If you're interested in rare Total Drama stuff and found media, you should check out Rare Total Drama. They post great stuff, and they're one of my favorite Total Drama YouTubers. But now, the 5th layer's finished. Now we're at Layer 6, The Deep. Slenderman is canon. This one is pretty self-explanatory. Right here in All Stars, if you look at this screen, you will see Slenderman. And this ain't edited either. I'd say check it out on Netflix, but they got rid of it, so watch it on YouTube. Max and Scarlett are plants. This is my own personal theory. After only being left with these 14 contestants, Chris and the producers probably noticed that none of them had any edge and decided to hire 2 new people to be the season's main antagonists. That's why they started working together so quickly, got the dynamic down, and were eliminated together. But talk is talk. Where is the evidence? First up, if Scarlett's a genius, then why does she constantly leave hints that she's evil? Secondly, this machine. He claims it was made from his underwear elastic and a security camera. But how'd he reach the camera? Where was the camera? Why don't Chris or the producers care? Thirdly, why do Max and Scarlett keep running into the robotic side of the island? How does Scarlett know how to use the island's controls? Why wasn't Scarlett arrested? Now, is this canon or is this just a fun theory? Obviously it's canon, everything I say is fact, and I am never wrong. Replaced voices. Not including Dramarama, 4 major characters have had their voice actors replaced. Pretty much everyone knows about Christian Potenza being replaced by Tara McGurran, and a good chunk know that Chef went from Clay Bennett to Devin Mack, and Alejandro went from Marco Grazzini to Alex House. But almost everyone skips over Courtney. For the first 2 episodes of Island, Courtney was voiced by Rochelle Wilson before being replaced by Emile Claire Barlow. Also, the escaped psycho killer with the chainsaw and a hook was replaced in All Stars, but no one cares. No one's favorite character is the escaped psycho killer with a chainsaw and a hook. DJ's Mama's. Everyone knows Mama. She's DJ's favorite person, she slaps a lot, and she's a pretty solid cards player. And everyone remembers her time in Action and World Tour, but no one remembers that she shows up in Island. Technically, an Island audition, but Island nonetheless. She has a very different design though. Unique hair, body type, and face shape. Now, it could just be a different design for the same character, but that's boring. Now, I see only 2 reasonable explanations. The Mama we know and love could be DJ's stepmother, with his original mother being out of the picture, and that's why he cries at the end of his audition. Or, you know, something Weezer reference. Cut cameo. So Todd Kaufman confirmed that Tyler was supposed to make a cameo in Revenge of the Island, but it was cut. Now, we never learn what episode it was meant to take place in, but we can guess. It probably wasn't any of these 9 as there was already a major cameo in each. These 2 share a brief Zeke cameo, and while episode 2 doesn't have a direct cameo, the glasses are meant to be an obvious reference to Harold. So that leaves Ice Ice Baby, and it feels like the most obvious choice to me. Picture it. Tyler runs out, he slips, he falls into the water, comes out as an ice cube. I can totally see Tyler doing that. It could also be one of these 2 since their cameo/reference is pretty small. Episode 2 is an obstacle course, and Tyler would fit perfectly in there. Or maybe Tyler gets the Jaws treatment in episode 12, but unless it's confirmed, we'll never know. Final Four's secret. In Camp Castaways, Owen gets the rest of the Final Four to reveal their secrets because they think they're gonna die.
We cut away and don't hear what they say, but we do learn about the aftermath. They now know what Duncan went to juvie for. We also know that whatever it was tame or normal compared to what Heather did, but whatever Gwen did was so much worse or so weird that she had to change her name. We know that Duncan was arrested at one point for a Happy New Year stunt, but judging how he looks 16 in that photo and he was in juvie at the same time that Mal was, it likely wasn't that. So the two most likely options, at least to me, is arson since he always has that lighter, or stripping vehicles since we know he did that for a while. Heather and Gwen's secret is a lot harder to decipher, but I always thought of Carrie for Heather's secret. It's a weird, cruel prank, and worse than either of the two juvie options. And whatever Gwen did, I have no clue. It is either something so awful that she needed a new identity, or you know. Anyways, we're done with the 6th layer. Y'all know the drill by now.
Layer 7, The Dark. Pete and Chris are related. This is a pretty common fan theory. It stems from the fact that they have the same facial features and have a passion for racket-based sports. That's pretty much it. Why is it down here? I needed to pad this layer out a bit. Bad parents. This entry refers to the fact that almost every single total drama parent either seems bad on the surface or bad if you look a little deeper. To prove my point, let's take a look at them. We know very little about either of Alejandro's parents, but from what he says, they seem alright. It's his brother that torments him instead. Amy and Sammy's mom was mentioned once offhandedly. Beth's profile says her mom is very loving and encouraging to Beth. On the other hand, we hear her father yell at her in an audition tape, and Beth says her dad would have killed her if she lost her retainer. Now, either of them on their own wouldn't be much, but both together give me the idea that he loses his temper easily. Brick loves his mom, and she's apparently pretty strong. Good enough to be good. Bridget's profile says that her mom is her best friend, and that she's super proud of Bridget. Caleb's parents are way too overbearing. According to Fresh TV's Tumblr, nothing is known about Cameron's father, as in he left and he never came back. That's probably why his mom is super overprotective, to the point of keeping him in a bubble for 16 years. While I won't call this malicious, it's still really bad. Chase's mom is mentioned offhandedly once. Both of Cody's parents forgot his birthday. Considering that it's also a holiday, that's kinda messed up. Courtney's mom is mentioned offhandedly once. Dakota's dad paid Chris to get her back on the show so she could get in the spotlight she wanted. He might be the reason she's spoiled, but he seems cool from the little we see. Dawn's parents are mentioned offhandedly in her profile. DJ has the parent we see the most of in Mama. Maybe a tad aggressive, but she loves her son and DJ loves her. Duncan's mom still loves him after all of his arrests. And the feeling is mutual since he writes her a birthday letter in All Stars. His father, however, questions if he even does love him, so that's a 50-50 split. Emma's mom is mentioned offhandedly. Eva's parents are proud of her leadership skills. Zeke's parents made him sexist. Jeff's mom is mentioned offhandedly twice. Gwen's parents are divorced, but from what we see from the video message from home, her mom seems to be loving her at least. Harold's mom in her basement are mentioned quite a bit. She seems to be chill since she donated $200 to the show if Harold cleaned the house. Heather's parents used electroshock therapy on her. Izzy's parents are both barely mentioned. Joe's parents made her a climbing wall playpen. We know very little about Julia's parents, but apparently she only talks to them through her lawyers. Justin's mom raised him from a test tube. We know nothing else about her. Katie and Sadie's moms were worried when they got lost in a mall. LaShonda's mom taught her nothing comes for free, and that's some solid advice. Lightning's dad seems negligent. Lindsay's parents are said to be very sweet on their profile. Millie's get a brief mention with no information. Michelle's mother didn't raise a quitter. Noah's parents are barely mentioned in his profile. Owen's parents are very sweet and proud of their son. And while they did spend his $50K on a cheese seller, they knew that he'd love it, and that he was guaranteed to get $50K in the final 3. Priya's parents are awful. Raj's mom has a car. Wayne threw up in it. Ripper's dad dropped him and his brothers on their heads. And their mom said babies ruin everything, so they're hella cruel. Rodney has a single dad who works 2 jobs, who loves his kids and never stops. Scarlett says she has parents. Scary Girl's mom told her the reason she was voted out was for being too scary. Scott, apparently, wasn't held enough as a child, is close to his dad in his audition, and made his parents argue for fun in his profile. I can't tell their feelings towards Scott, but Scott seems like an awful kid. Sierra's mom seems to be the reason for her obsession with total drama, but other than cursing her to a fate worse than death, she's chill. Sky mentions her mom once. Stacy has a billion ancestors, but never talks about her parents. Sugar's mom gives her an awesome pep talk before each of her pageants that's just her screaming at her. Trent has a close relationship with his mom, and his dad's a lawyer/accountant who doesn't want him to be a musician. Tyler's dad is said to put a lot of pressure on him, but it seems to come from a place of love rather than projection. Wayne's mom feeds him like a baby bird. Zoe's parents apparently loved Zoe's finger paintings as a kid. Looking at it all now, there's way more good than bad, but if we look at every parent we physically see, it's a 7-6 split with bad parents ahead. But really, it's only a 7-5 since we only see a frame picture of Sierra's mom in a Flash game. Nimmo was a NoCo cover-up. NoCo was an incredibly popular ship in the early days of Total Drama. Still is. When NoCo shippers saw Nimmo, they were furious. I remember it like it was yesterday.
people raging, ranting, and raving over Noah getting with Emma, it got to the point where people were theorizing that the relationship was caused by network pressure. Is this true? We don't have confirmation, but use your brain. Lashana's original elimination. Everyone remembers Lashana's elimination. Unfair as hell and really out of character for a lot of the losers. This is due to the episode being completely changed. For a long time, it was just speculation and rumor stemming from this episode's description on iTunes and the name being fashion-based, but it was later confirmed by Todd Kaufman. The original plan for this episode was to be a fashion-based challenge, before it was ultimately scrapped due to the new amount of costumes that had to be produced. Lashana won the fashion contest, but gave away her immunity to Gwen, who voted for Lashana rather than Heather, before Heather yapping about people who give away their immunity deserving to be eliminated. Why would Gwen vote Lashana? I don't know. Also, Owen was apparently in multiple alliances or something. It'd be kinda cool if we got the script for the episode eventually, but that'll probably never happen. Ask Chef. Ask Chef was a short web series where you could, get this, ask Chef anything on Teletoon.com. A select few would be answered in a short segment by, you guessed it, Gwen. They mostly answered small stuff like, who is the winner of World Tour, what he would do with the million, and who's Chef's favorite couple. It's a fun 3 minutes of content and definitely worth the watch. The Alla Tyler video. Anyways, that's our penultimate layer. Time for the grand finale. Layer 8, The Void. Mike's DID. Dissociative identity disorder. If you were to apply real-world logic to how alters like this would develop, it gets kinda messed up. And it's the perfect thing for needlessly edgy theories. In real life, this kind of thing would form from trauma as a sort of defense mechanism from abuse and neglect. Chester's is used to deal with anger, Svetlana is used in physically demanding situations, Vito is used to be tough and social when his shirt is off, weird implications, Manitoba Smith is used when Mike needs to eat sand and be sexist, and Mal is used to be edgy. Was this intentional by the TD writers? Nah, they probably didn't even do too much research or look too deep into it. But theorizing is fun. Sierra/Kelsey is based on a real fan. Everyone remembers the iconic Total Drama character Kelsey. You know, Kelsey, the girl with the Trent doll in the aftermath. Well, her Trent doll and general superfan behavior came from Liana, a superfan who really liked Cody, to the point where she made a Cody doll. The Cody superfan part of her was later repurposed to be Sierra in World Tour. She's still a big Total Drama fan, making fan art and stuff. Really well drawn, too. But yeah, Sierra Total Drama is real. Total Drama is hell. This theory is being made by The Theorizer. His Total Drama theories are an amazing series to binge, but the basic point of the Total Drama is hell theory are that the producers are demons, Chris is the devil, Chef is the government's strongest soldier, and the contestants are sinners who escaped hell and became teenagers. Izzy is her great-grandmother Mavis, and Zeke is Jack the Ripper. How does Pocket 2 Island fit into this? I don't know. But it's a really fun theory and you should watch it. And finally, here we are. The deepest, the darkest, the most insane entry on the iceberg. Anne Maria's favorite color. It's purple. And that's the iceberg. Are you annoyed that I forgot the theory that Duncan and Bridget are related? Let me know below. Also, be sure to comment what you think I should have included in the iceberg. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and comment. If you hated it, leave a dislike and comment. Something, Patreon link in the description. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.